Whether you're leading for the first time, leading through change, or learning to lead all over again, this space is for you. No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk from those who've led through challenges, adapted under pressure, and thrived in the face of change. Welcome to Command to Corporate, where leadership isn't just taught, it's lived. Let's get to work. All right, welcome back everyone to Command to Corporate C2C. Hope everyone has had a wonderful day. I am one of your hosts, LP. He is the other T. T, how are you doing today?
Doing great. I'm slowly catching up to your skin tone, brother. I got a tan today.
All
I
right.
mean, I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
One of these
And for those
days,
that
I'll
don't
let you
know,
know.
and for those that don't know, we are in Texas, and it is quite nice today. What was today?
Beautiful.
Well, we're gonna post you, but our weather today. Let me see. Let me check it out real quick and see where we're at. So right now we are a bright and sunny 85 degrees right now. So let's feel it. And this is November. What's today? November
16.
16th, of which we're recording. It won't be on this day, but it's November 16th. Bright and sunny, looking
Yes,
nice
sir.
outside. So,
When I'm
okay, yeah,
tan.
it's been a good weekend. Yeah. And I was supposed to be actually riding today on the motorcycle. Yesterday, took it out, found out I had a mechanical failure. So, lost clutch fluid, didn't know what it was. I have not replaced that part before, so figured it out. Got the clutch working right now, but realized that I have to replace what is called the clutch slave cylinder. It is actually leaking clutch fluid. So hopefully by next weekend I'll get that squared away and be able to enjoy the bike at least a couple more times before the weather gets too chilly out here. But I did miss
Yeah.
what I think would have been a nice group ride. So definitely got to get after it, get that thing up and running.
Yeah, you got probably another good month of riding, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe Texas, probably so. And then those random days that pop up and get hot for no reason.
Yeah.
So yeah, we probably gonna have it. Yeah. Okay, so for those that may be joining us for the first time, this is season two of Command to Corporate, and we're going through a series of episodes that are focusing on maybe up and coming leaders, maybe some middle managers. But as we've talked through a lot of these topics and a lot of scenarios and questions that we've gone back and forth with, it could be applicable to multiple levels of leader in the not I'm sorry, not in the military, but in different roles within an organization. So, today's episode, we are jumping into resilience and adaptability in uncertain times. And with that, we'll jump into it. So, why do teams look to leaders most during uncertainty? And for me, the no brainer would be because they're the leader. That's why.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they're gonna look for that leadership, and I would say in the military, it's there. You would see it, I think, more, maybe so, because I mean, depending on the situations, of course, there'll be much more, I guess, intense situations when you look at, battlefield exercises, field exercise, and things of that nature. So it's going to be looking for that clear direction. What do we do? And expecting the leader to say, tell me what to do, where to go, and move out, get here, get there. When you think about defending a position or, opposition, whatever the case may be, I need clear orders. What are we doing to execute the plan? And I think even in the uh, civilian sector, like you think about maybe you lose team members or you go through layoffs and things like that. And it's like, okay, how do we adjust? They're going to look to the leader to say, okay, what do we do? You know, this person's gone. What's happening with that work? How are we dividing? What are we going to do? All of those things. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. I think it's we're conditioned. It's probably very. It's a little bit deeper than that. As kids, when you're stressed or don't know what's going on, or there's something crazy going on, we've been conditioned to look at, to your parents, to your mom, dad, like, hey, we look to them, see how can you solve this problem, or we can look to them for strength and guidance, even though we're falling apart. And I think that still kind of continues, but more so I've seen in the military,
Hmm.
because in the military, you follow orders. You're conditioned to follow orders, and you follow orders, especially if it's you have a good leader, right? You know they're gonna guide you right, and they know they're gonna set you up for success, and you know, like sometimes you're putting your life in their hands, right? So that's you're very conditioned to look for them for direction because you trust them, and maybe they've never failed you before, so in time of crisis, I'm gonna automatically look to that leader. That's the way I look at it, and that's why being a leader is such a big responsibility that people don't realize because people really depend on you, and I think that is such an amazing gift when you have somebody who said, okay, I trust you to guide me. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Like, that's so much power. And it's critical that leaders just know how to use that power. So, long story short, I think it starts when we were kids. you know?
And when you, as you're speaking, like it reminds me of when you like they're expecting that person to take care of them,
Mm-hmm.
take care of their well-being,
Mm-hmm.
to sum it all up. And so they're looking at you, okay, how are you going to take care of me? What do I do? I'm looking for you to take care of me, whatever that means, whatever that translate
Yep.
to. How are you going to do that? So
Yep.
is that through protection? Is that through direction, guidance, whatever it is? But how are you taking care of me? And so think about it. If you're stepping into a leadership role, your existing leader, and there is
Mm-hmm.
uncertainty, your people are looking for you to do just that. So
Yep.
how are you going to do that for them? Ask
Yep.
yourself that question. How are you going to do that?
Especially those that have decided they're going to let you be the leader and they're going to trust you to lead them, Because you always have those, one or two people that will challenge a leader and always don't think that leader is doing a good job, right? You'll always have those. Um, but those people will actually have a function as well to keep leaders, accountable, to keep leaders on their toes, and they keep it fresh a little bit, right? But it's very, very critical, especially those that submit. I hate the word submit because that's such a bad word. But like, give trust to that leader. It's so critical that we take care of them and do the right thing by them.
Yeah, because I'm putting myself in your hands.
Yeah,
So what are you going to do with it?
yeah,
I'm
exactly.
expecting you to do something with it. So how can leaders project calm under pressure? I'm pretty good at this because I always stay calm.
Yeah, you're definitely pretty good. Yeah.
So I mean, I just know that for me, if things are getting crazy, the people are like, oh my gosh, what's going on? And then the leader get caught up in that. It's gonna now just chaos. It's like you're freaking out, we're freaking out, no one's calming anyone down, no one's bringing some kind of order and balance to the situation. If you're flying off the deep end, I don't know this, and it's like, okay, well then who knows? Because then it can also project, well, now we're losing confidence in you as a leader because you have now lost your calm, your cool, you're all erratic. So
Right.
it's like now we're looking at who do we turn to? Because at the
Yep.
end of the day, we just talked about you're there to take care of my well-being. Clearly you can't now. So then who is that next person? Who do we look to for that? And if you want to be that leader, you have to know how to. And if that means taking a moment, you know what, team,
Ah,
give me a
yes.
minute.
Yes.
Like, don't just react. Give me 5 minutes. I'll be right back. Go collect yourself, come back. Okay. If that means going into a closet, screaming into a towel, running outside, come back.
Yep.
Okay. Here's the game plan.
Oh my God, that is so, so true because I've fallen into the trap of, team members coming in like their hair's on fire. They're like, oh my God, this has happened and this is gonna be like whatever. Their emotions are so high. It's like
Yeah.
you can't help sometimes, but like feed off of that. And now you're emotionally charged, right? And then like you said, emotionally charged people, they're gonna get short fused, they're gonna raise their voice, they're gonna get angry. So
Hmm.
much negativity. And it's so important that you recognize that, have some self-awareness, and that's
Yeah.
that's a perfect way to say, hey, let me step, I'll be right back. Give me a minute. Let me think about this, and maybe it's good. Just collect yourself and say, okay, facts versus feelings. What's coming here?
Yeah.
What are the facts? Because the people are
Yeah.
coming with a lot of feelings, and it's so easy to catch those feelings.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but I think the most important thing is probably what you said is like keeping yourself in check. Step away if
Hmm.
you need to, but you also project it with like having a calm voice, not being emotionally in your speaking, in your reaction. I think those are very critical as well.
Absolutely. So, what habits build resilience in leaders? And I can start off by reading
Sure.
something that I got online. It says habits that build resilience in leaders include cultivating a growth mindset, practicing self awareness and emotional intelligence, which we just spoke about, maintaining physical and mental well being through routines, and fostering strong relationships and support networks. These habits help leaders navigate challenges, manage stress, remain adaptable and optimistic. And it's through a series of mindset and perspective, self care and well being, relationships and supports, action and accountability.
Mm. So those are good, right? But
Mhm,
look at it now from a supervisor's lens, right? How do you
mhm.
create resilient team or other resilient leaders that work under you? You know, so I think the army does an excellent. Well, all military services do a great job at this, right? That's the whole purpose of
But we're gonna
basic
put the
training.
army on top though for everyone that's listening. We'll put the army on top. Keep going. You were right.
It's true. Army does it better. We're the oldest. It's okay. But yeah, like think about it. All services have some sort of basic training, right? Why do they do that?
Mhm.
Because they want to build resilient people. You know, Airmen, Marines, Air Force, whatever you want to call it. That's the whole purpose. They got to push you to your limit and back off. So now you've discovered a new threshold that you crossed that you didn't know you had. And that's how you keep pushing boundaries. So as a leader, I would push my subordinate leaders boundaries a little bit to explore their limits a little bit, but I try to
Mm,
do it in a safe space where it's like, all right,
yeah.
I'm not going to let you fail, but I'm definitely going to push you to that limit and to see where that limit is. One, because I think it's good to know.
Mhm.
Helps me kind of grow you in the future, or helps me give you the appropriate level of projects and responsibility, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
But
Yep.
when they realize, like, oh, I didn't know I was capable of doing this,
Mhm.
like me joining the army, I didn't know I was capable of doing a 12-mile road march in the middle of Fort Jackson in the heat in the middle of summer, that was insane. But
Mhm.
guess what? They pushed me to that limit, and now it's like, oh, that's easy, 12 miler, no problem.
Yeah.
But that's
Yep.
uh, that's the opposite that I wanted to kind of make sure we address as well. That
Yeah. Sounds good.
leaders have to
Okay.
push other leaders to be resilient.
Yeah. When you think about, going into basic training, it reminded me of going through like when they're, putting you through the wartime
Mm-hmm.
exercises. Most of it is just sounds, but
Yeah.
it's that pressure and understanding this
Oh
is a
yeah.
situation you could be in, and it's loud. It's between machine guns firing and explosions, and you're having to move from
And at
this
night.
point to an at night,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to low crawl from one point to another. You can't
With
stand
barbed
up.
wire over you. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like keep pushing, and
Yeah.
they want you low. That Kevlar is dragging on the ground, but it's like you got to get to the other side, and you've
Yeah.
had people freeze,
Oh yeah.
and I've had people freeze, and they're like, I can't do this, and I'm like, for one, it's not real. Keep moving, but it's just that pushing. You know, no one's been in that situation. And it's like, how are they adapting? How are they building that resiliency to keep going
Oh
and be
yeah.
like, okay, I'm ready to go. And this also helps as the drill sergeants, cadre, whatever situation,
Mm-hmm.
in identifying those that are like, okay, I'm seeing this
Exactly.
person step up. Okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
give them a little bit more. Okay, now you're my squad leader, or you're
Yes.
this, or you're that, and I'm gonna push and see how well you do here. Okay, now you're gonna go here. Give me a taste of things to see
Yep.
how you're rising to the occasion.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, that's I still remember that night live fire. Yeah, all your five senses are on fire at that day. It's
Yeah,
crazy. Like the
yeah.
smell of those the rounds, the noise of the explosions, and woo, and dirt in your mouth. Oh, yeah, remember those
Yeah, the
days.
good old days.
Eat dirt. Yeah.
So, how do you help employees adapt to sudden change?
Mm,
Now, for me on this, I always tell them up front, anything can happen.
mm.
Prime example, uh, hybrid working. So we went from being fully remote, 2 days a week, then 3 days a week. Got the question, do you think they'll ever have us come back in for 5 days a week? I'm like, sure, why not?
Yeah.
I'm like, it could happen. We were once working 5 days a week. So, yes, we're in this new world, but it could happen. Do you
Yeah.
think this could happen? I'm always like, it could happen. Don't think that
Mm,
it couldn't happen. I don't want you to be blindsided. Anything could happen. So, if you think, is there a chance? Of course, there is. And I try to manage those type of questions and expectations up front. So if it happens, it's like, okay. So if we get some new information and
mm-hmm.
it's like, do you think that could happen? Yeah, it could. I don't want you to be shocked if it does.
Yeah.
And now what you do with it and what you want to do with your time in an organization and position, that's up to you, but it very well can happen. So I just try to manage it up front.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I think you touched on it, but you didn't specifically say it. But communication, I think, is
Yep.
huge here, right? Sudden change, nobody likes change. I mean, I hate change. But like, whenever it happens, it's like you're emotionally charged because guess what? It's all emotions. There's no facts. Maybe the only fact is like, oh, T, you gotta deploy. You know,
Mhm.
oh my God, the first time I heard that, that is all emotion. There was no facts in there other than like, oh crap, I'm deploying.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's important, and I think I was at a unit that did a good job of this. They're like, all right, let's get everybody in and say, we understand you're nervous about this change of notification that you got orders to deploy. It's okay. What are your concerns? So I think sudden change requires a sit down, if possible, or some sort of communication to one address people's feelings
Hmm.
of like, oh yeah, people are charged
No.
right now. So
Yeah.
let's kind of reduce that emotion and let's or those feelings and let's increase facts. So you address it, you validate, like I got it, I understand sudden change is going to be big for you and your family, but let's talk about it. Here's what's going to happen. If this is your concern, we're going to train leading up to it. We're going to make sure you're ready to go, stuff like that. So I think addressing the feelings, but increasing facts, I think tends to, you know, improve it. I don't think you'll ever necessarily solve all of it, but you help people, cope with the change.
And even the fact of just saying that an organization has a lot of change. For
Mm,
example, I've been with an organization before where every year they had some form of change.
yeah.
So I used to sit in and help support new hire orientations. And I would tell each group, this company changes every year, something
Hmm.
changes. If you're not into that, this is probably not going to be the place for you upfront
That's very true.
because it's going to change. So don't think that it's not. There has always been some form of change.
Yeah.
So whether it's structure, and most of it evolved around structure,
Mm,
but that means that, departments change, maybe
hmm.
departments go away, levels
Mm,
change, but it's
hmm.
something happening. So,
Yeah.
the systems, platforms, all kinds of things, but it can happen. So just have it in your mind that this is a place of change. So if you want something to just sit back and nothing change for years on end, you might as well go ahead and drop off right now.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. I mean, imagine all these people right now that are working with AI in a company that works with AI, for example, or any organization that's going through some sort of AI transformation. Like, if you're working, with any kind of AI, there's so much change happening because you're on the cutting edge of technology, right? If you're in a
Yeah.
company, and there's so much change, like it's got to be incredible. There's constant change, but I guess eventually you get numb to it, maybe, or you just become resilient to it and just know how to roll with the punches. But yeah, that could be
Or you
scary for some
avoid it.
people.
Or you avoid it.
Oh,
Because some people,
like I'm
they,
leaving. Screw
they're
this.
like, I'm not with it. But
Yeah.
the problem is the change still happens and it keeps advancing. So when you think about technology, it's not slowing down. It
No.
continues to advance. So you can stay away from it for as long as you think you can, but it's going to
Hmm.
hit you in some kind of way. Well, if it's not in a professional environment, it could be at a restaurant, it could be at a car wash, it
Oh,
could be a
true.
fast food place. I'll give you an example. Near me, there is uh, a fast food chain, and it is literally AI taking the order, and it does it pristine. There's not a person. It says, "How can I help you?" And you'll say, "Hey, I want this," and it'll do click, 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 and then it'll say, "What else?" But it's catching everything right the first time.
So it would make like keyboard noises. Is that what I
Yeah,
heard?
yeah, it'll make keyboard noises if it's taking jotting it down. What else? I mean, but it does not miss a beat. And I was like,
That's awesome.
wow. It's the
Okay.
only
Now
place
I'm
I've heard that
curious.
has done it, but it's through the drive-through and it's
All
taking the
right, you gotta let
order.
me know what it is later.
Okay, I sure will.
All right.
So what role does transparency play in uncertain times? So when you said you can share facts, but what if you don't have any? So
Hmm.
it could be a situation where, hey, an organization is going to go through a restructure, but I have no clue as to what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know, and to me, this is where transparency plays a role with as a leader with your teams. I know it's going to happen. It's going to take effect. So we're in November. Let's say it's going to be January. There will be changes. Um, we may be impacted. I don't know yet, but as soon as I know, I will let you know. I will let you know all that I can, inform you. So whatever I can share, I will share. Um, and that's all you can say.
Yeah.
Larry, when do you think you'll find out? Do you have any word on when they'll put out this information? I don't. But as soon as I find out, I will let you know. I'll make sure that I can divulge whatever information that I can share with you. I will to keep you informed, and that way people can be prepared, you know. But I think this thing goes back to the change. This could be a sudden change. It could have been rumors, and now it's just like, okay, it's material into something. But as a leader, just say I don't know, because I've been in some situations where leaders just go quiet. They don't say anything. I can't
Or make
talk
up
about
shit.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
or make up shit, and it's like, don't do that. Just stick to the facts, because this also goes back to your credibility as a leader.
Hmm.
They're turning to you for guidance for their well-being. So you need to do what's right in your role for them.
Yeah. I mean, spot on, 1,000%, man. That's if you don't know, say you don't know. And if you know something, say what you can say, and then leave it at that. Building trust is critical because that will help them through that change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do leaders, in all of this that they're doing, maintaining teams, taking care of others, managing all these different scenarios and situations, how do they avoid burnout while leading others?
Don't know, brother. I've I've struggled with this. Yeah, I, I'm I'm
S-
I'm looking to you for an answer on this one because
All right.
I've been
So
burnt
for
out.
me,
Can't do it. Yeah.
so for me, a couple things. As far as your team, building a solid team that can take care of one another. They can back each other up. They can keep things moving. They understand your expectations. They understand the goals, the mission. In your absence, they know how to keep it moving forward in your absence. Maybe they might ping you and text you, but for the most part, You've built a solid team that has each other's back. They know what to do. They can keep moving forward. So that's one.
That's
Number
true.
two might be having a number two.
Yeah.
So, in the event that you want to take off, if either you have a number two that can continue to lead the team, or the team all knows how to step up in your absence and keep moving forward. That's what you want to have. You want to trust your team that they're like, hey, because anything can happen. I mean, look how, when we had COVID, people getting sick left and right. It's like, and I'm not talking about the height of it. I'm talking about when it's died down and people were still, even now, can still, or the flu, anything. You just get
That's
sick.
true.
I got to drop off. I can't be on calls. You know that something like you can hand off to a team member and they can fill in for you. They can cover meetings. They know enough to get by. This goes back to the last call of like having huddle boards where the performance, everything is transparent. So they're like, okay, we know what Larry would do. We're going to keep going.
Mm, I like that.
And I've seen it in action. Like I've built teams that they do that. Like, okay, you're out, or you're not going to be here, or you're in a conference, whatever. The ship's going to keep sailing. Like we're not going to drop anchor and sit there and wait until you're back. We're going to keep moving.
Yeah, it reminds me. So the most recent experience I guess I had with burnout is first job outside the army, just as soon
Hmm.
as I got out, and I was on a large team, leading a large team, but those structures didn't exist. It's like you don't have a sergeant major counterpart, first sergeant counterpart, platoon sergeant counterpart, none of that. You didn't have an XO, like that stuff that didn't exist, right? So I just kind of like I was like, oh, I guess this is the way world rolls out here in the civilian world, so I'm just gonna make it happen. So I didn't do any of those really, honestly, and so I just try to take on everything. Um, and I was thinking, I was like, well, I guess that's what it means to be a civilian leader. You just, I guess you're an army of one, and that's kind of what you have to do to perform. And so I burnt out, but I also was like, oh, I'm also protecting my team, um,
Hmm.
because they were stressed out as well. And so, but I guess this is just kind of a note for those that are transitioning: take charge of it. If it's not there, create it. Create that number two, create that knowledge share and structure. If it's not there, do all those things, because yeah, that's otherwise you're gonna get burnt out. It's like, okay, I'm done with this company. I'm out. And that's what happened. And maybe it's the burnout was probably my fault, because I didn't put those things in place, because I didn't think I had that authority to do that. But reflecting back, I did, and I probably should have.
And as you're talking, some people might find themselves in situations where, like, you're a supervisor and you're going from a supervisor exempt role to maybe a lead role, but they can't, maybe the way the company's structured, you can't actually put them in a number two role. Like, yes, they
Mm,
may run the floor or something like that, but they can't like step away and actually act as a supervisor.
right.
So, still having them understand the expectations, they know how you work, they keep moving forward, best foot forward, you got a solid team, but you may have to look for a counterpart that says, hey, I'm going to be out, and have a teammate says, if I'm down, can you watch my floor or my line or my department, and build some kind of relationship back to
Yeah.
the networks and those key habits to build resilience in leaders is having someone that you can lean on, like a
Hmm.
support that says, hey, I know you're over here in this department. Our lines are pretty close, our floors are pretty close, whatever, or we're running the same product, or, maybe you're A shift, B shift. Maybe we can work out something where you can have some overlap. Get my line going for me, help support them, maybe in the beginning of shift, end of shift, something like that. So you may have to look at in doing that and establishing someone to support you in that manner.
Yeah. True. Create
So what
those.
millets? Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
No, I'm saying create those opportunities. Yeah, for yourself.
Yeah.
Keep from because nobody else is gonna look out for you. Honestly, that's
No.
what bottom line is. You're the only person that's gonna look out for yourself. That's it.
And you have to want to. That's another point because we've talked about in the past where some people are so used to being that individual contributor that when they're
Mm,
put into that leadership role, they don't know how to delegate. They don't know how to, I need to do it all. I need to own it
exactly.
all. Or maybe this is the way I am going to shine is if I always, it's always about me.
Mm,
But you're a leader of a team. The team
yeah.
is what makes you look good. Yes, you may have individual tasks, individual work, but it's the team getting it done. Because at the end of the day, it's team goals. It's not your goal. And you got all these people supporting you. It's their goal. It's collective goal. So get them all involved. It's like and be okay to give to someone else and say, you know, for example, you're going to go out on vacation for 2 weeks. Okay, well, who's covering you? Well, so and so's got it. You know, I've gave them their marching orders, whatever it is. Um, you should be in good hands. Then you get back and I'll be like, how'd it go? Oh, T covered down. He had it all. You were right. I mean, great pick. Great. That looks good on me because it was a great pick. T really did a great job. Okay, great. Thanks, T. And then I keep doing my thing. And if I'm solid and comfortable and confident in myself, I'm
Hmm.
gonna keep doing my thing. But I just threw T a bone. They now
Oh
see
yeah.
what T is capable of. So then if they come back to me and say, "Hey, what do you think about T actually joining and coming on board?" Because that time that you were out, he really did. I was impressed. Hey, I think he'd be great. And if you got a good relationship, I'm not worried about T taking on my job and
Hmm.
things like that. I'm good. I'm good. But so many people are worried about that. Well, T's going to come, and if T's truly that partner and that
Shine.
support,
Oh
he's
yeah.
not going to be like, "Oh, you want me to do what? Take LPs?" No, no, I'm not about that. I'm not about that. I'm not the one. So if you're thinking I'm going to do that, I'm not. But so many people be like, "Oh, I got a chance to shine. Oh, screw him. Take me to the top."
That is
And
so
it's
true,
like,
brother.
come
So
on,
so true. That's
yeah.
crazy.
So, what military stories demonstrate resilience under stress? And maybe T, I know we talked about this before. Do you have a story? I think you said you may have a story of something, a
Yeah.
military story.
So as a young captain, I had a team down in I think it was Camp Liberty. It was in Iraq. This was back in like around I think '08. I forgot. I don't know which one of the deployments I was down there. Um, so back, and I think it was '08, if I'm not mistaken. There was a big thing that made the news where there was a like an active shooter. Back then, it wasn't that called an active shooter. It was just a crazy person shooting up the place. But
Yeah.
there was an active
Mm,
shooter across our parking lot from us. There was a building, behavioral health building, and a soldier went in there and started shooting up the place. Right, people were running in. I didn't know what was going on because I was like in the back of the office, but like come out, I heard some commotion, come out, and this E5 man, rock solid. He took charge. He went out there. He's like, "Hey, everybody, come in here." Um, while everybody was just like frozen and screaming, this guy went out, got everybody that's out in the parking lot to come in, locked the door, gave directions, everybody get down, and he kind of started locking and loading, man. I was like, oh my shit. So I come out,
mm,
like, what's going on? And this guy just super calm under pressure, knew what was going on, got people to safety, knew the procedure, locked the doors, everybody down. He locked and loaded. He was ready to take on whatever comes his way, man. And so that was a really great example that I saw. It was like a really proud moment to see one of the team members just kind of calm under stress, where it was like a life threatening stress. It was like this is
mm,
literally like I don't know, 50 yards. These buildings were separated, maybe even less than 50 yards separate. And there was a shooter in that building. And he got everybody safe, everybody calm. And, it was a great to see that, a great example for me even, and for everybody else. So that was like a proud moment. I was like, so that was pretty cool.
That is cool. And I think, for going back to the various trainings and scenarios that
Hmm.
military go through,
Yeah.
that's where he took all of that and
Yeah.
put it into action.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that everyone that goes to that training would do that, because some people get put in a situation and they freeze and they forget everything. And it's like, because this is now real life
Yes.
where,
Yeah.
yeah, because this is not a training exercise.
Hmm.
And so I think it really shows that he took it and owned it,
Yes.
said, I remember everything. I'm going to take charge. I'm get it done. I'm here to protect, keep people safe, all of these things. So definitely a great story because you got plenty that
Yeah.
could equally go, what am I supposed to do? I forgot, because it's just fear takes over.
Oh yeah.
And it's like, how do you overcome that? And it's not to say that the fear is not gone. It's there, but it's like you're harnessing that to
Mm.
help others.
Yes. Yeah, that fear sometimes for some people helps them focus and become like better at whatever they're doing. It's amazing. But it goes back to, the army took him to that level in the past in training, and that's kind of how we
Mhm.
built that resiliency into that sergeant.
Yeah.
He was, in practice and in an exercise, he was there. He internalized it, knew what's going on, and then when it came to real life, he executed properly. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it was
And we say the Army
pretty
because,
cool moment.
we're both prior Army, but, all of the branches have
For sure.
various trainings,
Yes.
and outside of just field exercises, of course, you have those that go through more rigorous, intense trainings, whether it's special forces or SEALs or Delta Force or, all these different branches that go through extreme trainings to be prepared for situations just like that they got to get put into, they have to carry out, get in, get out. And so they rise to the occasion. So kudos to all of our service members that we recently passed Veterans Day. So happy Veterans
Yeah.
Day to all those out there. So how can small wins stabilize morale? And I'm a big fan of taking the win.
Oh yeah.
Whatever it is, I say it all the time. Like whatever the thing, whatever, no matter how small it is, take the win because it just gives that much, almost like that light at the end of the tunnel. Like I can see a little bit, and instead of it just being dark, like uncertain times, when the thing is going to look up, it's like if you can get some sort of small win to boost morale just an inch, it's like okay, there's hope.
Mm.
Something like that. Take it and just keep getting the little ones until you can get a big one or a medium one and then a big one.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think you got to take every small win, right? Because this is my math, right? Okay. So there's no
Yeah.
science behind it. It's all feelings right now. So in my mind, like for every negative thing, you need probably two or three positive things to offset that or to have the person look past that negative thing.
Yeah.
And that's why it's critical because we are bombarded every day, every moment with negativity, whether it's like computers acting up, whether your team member is acting up, or you just got some bad news or sudden change. Like our life is just so filled with negativity. And it drains you after a while, and like so that's why like any small wins, like you gotta embrace it and amplify it and like broadcast it, because it's like, yes, your life is just really stressful right now, but there are good things happening, and that's what kind of make keep people going. You're like, all right, I'm doing this, I'm sucking it up, but yeah, I like that. We have these wins that we're making a difference, and so I make every effort to praise people and to highlight our small wins that we do. Show them that impact that they're making.
Yeah.
Because other than that, I mean, not even paycheck is going to keep people there. It's just about
Yeah.
how you feel. And you feel like you're making a difference and contributing, that's going to keep you there.
Yeah. And one thing that I think about, even with a small team that I had, is periodically we'll just break early from work and have like a little happy
Oh,
hour together. And
yeah,
even that is just to sit there, laugh, joke,
yeah,
relax. That's a win, because
yes,
they're like, man, I can't wait until we do this again. And it could be in another month,
yes,
that could be in another 2 months, but it's like, this is why I'm here because of this team
yes,
right here. I feel
yeah,
good in this moment.
hmm
Screw that place for right now. I love you guys, man. I love you guys. And it's like, that's why I'm here, is because of you.
yeah,
Um, and again, that could not last forever, but in the moment, that is a small win. Take it, it boosts morale. They come back in. Man, I had a great time yesterday. Yeah, that was really, and you could be talking over it for the next week and
oh
and
yeah,
really, like, let's put it back on the calendar. At least you're looking for that next time that you get together, break bread, have a drink or
yeah,
something, and just enjoy each other's time.
I like that. True.
So what's the danger of over reassuring your team?
Some people just can't do it. You may tell them you can do it, but they just can't do it. And you can't create that. You lose credibility at one point.
Yeah,
When you say like, "Oh, you could do this," or "This is okay," or whatever. You know, but deep down in your heart, like, "Oh, this is probably going to be impossible." And
yeah.
you reassure people, and it doesn't happen, and it's just
And
like
you
you're
but you
losing their
keep
credibility.
doing it over and over
Yeah,
again. Like, hang in there, guys. It'll get better. And that better never comes. And whatever you're
yeah,
defining better to be, don't even say it,
hmm
because too many people say, "Oh, hang in there, it'll get better." And okay, is that a year from now, 2 years, 5 years? Because I don't see it in the near future. And they keep saying, "Oh no, trust me." Now they got to
yeah,
trust you that it'll get better. And they don't see it. Things are, maybe it's a toxic work environment,
mm,
wrong leadership, whatever. And it's
yeah,
just festering. And to keep people on the hook like that, and because it is also their well-being. And I recently talked to someone not too long ago, and their thought was like, I would hate to leave the team because I care about the team, but it's also causing stress on the individual. And I said, look, at the end of the day, it is your well-being. We will be okay. I would rather you say, I can't do this, and step away than to bring you down to the point where you're no longer effective, you're not producing quality work, it's
mm,
just draining, you're missing time. It's like, look, it's not that serious,
yeah,
and though that team member could be or is a crucial part in that team, at the end of the day, it's your well-being. And so your team members should, I think, respect you for that. Like, you're putting up the good fight, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, I got to do what's best for me, my family. This is taking a toll on me. My loved ones at home see it. It's like,
yeah,
okay, time to tap out that, because I can't keep telling you, going back to the reassuring and saying, oh, but hang in there. I don't know when, but hang in there. And it's like, I don't want to do that to you. I
yeah,
want you to want to stay for whatever your reasonings are, but I want you, and of course, I want to be a reason, but I also don't want to be a reason. You know what I mean?
alleviate. Yeah,
I would want people to say, like, I'm wanting to hang in there for you, which is great as a leader. Like, I'm here because of you as a leader.
mm,
But at the same time, if the environment is not fostering, I'm doing my best as a leader, but it's not fostering where you would say, I want to be here. Maybe
yeah,
there's external factors that I cannot control.
yeah,
And so I don't want you to say, I'm going to just put myself through this for me. Don't
yeah,
do that. It's like,
yeah,
we'll make it through. We can, you know, because I mean, a lot of people see it, when in work, someone falls off, the job is posted the next week. You know,
next day.
if it was, yeah, if it was that serious, it'd be like, we can't, because the show, as in show business, show must go on, and if that is a crucial function and success of that department, it's going to get posted. It's nothing personal, it's business, but that's the way it works. They're going to be interviewing the next week for a
hmm
replacement. So everyone is replaceable. I don't think anyone is not. So it's like, they'll get someone else. Yes, it'll be limping along. They'll struggle. They have to train, whatever. But that's why I think it's good when employees have an opportunity to move internally in an organization,
Hmm.
because the knowledge stays in organization. So I could
Ah,
potentially still call on you, hey, do
yes.
you mind helping me out, train? There, hey, let me introduce you to T. He was formerly on this team. He has some knowledge. T, if you don't mind, like sharing, like maybe he could be a
Yes.
resource over the next 3 to 6 months if you have a question.
Yes.
But if T is gone, there is no one to answer the question. We're looking
Yeah.
at hopefully it was documented, but you got to figure it out.
Woo, that's a big hopefully.
Yeah, yeah. I
I
mean, it
love
takes
hearing
that
it.
because some people will jump into roles and go, "Oh, I'm not about to figure it out." Like, there's no training plan. You're wanting me to just figure it out, like no structure, and then that's all this stress now on the
Oh,
person,
yeah.
and they're like, "I can't take it." Let me give you an example. When I was in Korea, I was out in the field. I
Hmm.
was a staff sergeant, and I think recently promoted. And we just came out the field, so I'm muddy, dirty, head to toe. And the sergeant major calls, and he says, "Hey, Sergeant Perry, this Sergeant Major so and so. Our battalion is schools training at NCO left country. We need a replacement. I think you're the soldier for the job. I need you to come up here to battalion." I said, "Roger that, Sergeant Major. When do you want me up there?" He says, "Now." Click, hangs up the phone. And I'm dirty. And it was like we had just came out of the field. It might have been like 9 or 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, well, I'm not going to go battalion muddy. So I go to my room, I change, I show up at 1 o'clock. He takes me to the person's desk. It is literally a monitor with sticky notes all around the monitor. He says to me, "Figure this out. Don't drop the ball," and walks away.
That was
He
your
says,
training.
"Oh," and he says, "Your point of contact is the Discom S3." And I said, "Roger that, Sergeant Major." So then I'm just pulling them down off the monitor. Okay, let me figure this out. And I spent the first 2 weeks missing every single meal of the day at the DFAC. Every single meal. Because I'm just running over there, running over. I'm just totally chaotic. But then I'm like, I'm not going to fail. So I kept going until it became easy peasy. Like it was just cake. Because I just had to get into a rhythm. But I had never worked out of my job ever when I was in the military. First time working out of my MOS in an administrative role.
Mm,
It was all new to me, but I'm like, he picked me. I didn't even know he knew who I was, but he picked me. But you could have some people, maybe in this day and age, that looked at that and say, "What? I'm not what?" But how you
that's
gonna tell
true.
the sergeant major no? But they could freak out and perform so poorly that it's like, okay, I guess you weren't the pick. Going back to where you came from, I'm gonna get somebody else.
That's crazy, but that's the army. That's those are some like really amazing skills that the service members bring to the civilian world, you know? It's that
True.
ability to just adapt quickly, even in a stressful situation where you're like, I don't know anything about this job. I got to go in and figure it out and I got to execute. That's the army does a very good job of that. Like, I can't, oh, every couple of years, you practically go into a different location with a different job. It's
Yeah. And
crazy.
you just figure it out. And it's crazy though, because so many, I say civilians that
Hmm.
have no affiliation, no family member, nothing, no clue about the military,
Mm.
the value it has, zero. So that when you're like, hey, I bring these skills, I had reached this rank, it's meaningless.
Yeah, I
It's
know,
just
man.
like, well, I don't see where you directly did this job that I'm asking for. But you got to look at the foundation of skills that I do have
Yeah.
and how that complements this. And they're still just like horse with the blinders on. But I'm looking at this paper and I don't see where you've done exactly this. And it's just so much of overcoming that to say, look, you're going to get a gem if you hire this person. this veteran coming out of this place at this rank. They've been responsible for this, they've had deployments. Trust me. But it's just like, I'd rather somebody that's just been working in it for like 5 years. It's like, don't worry about that. Give them a shot. They will rise up and perform. Now, not all. It doesn't mean that you don't have some service members out there that were ragbags and and they got out the military. But I think that's very few. If given the opportunity, they won't step up.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's a challenge that a lot of transition service members, face every day, basically.
Yeah.
It's
So
unfortunate.
finally, yeah, we will close with this. How do leaders keep long-term vision during short-term crisis? Let me repeat that. How do leaders keep long-term vision during short-term crisis? I think to me I look at it as keep your eye on the prize.
Mm,
So if that goal is whatever it is down the stretch, you can, if you're tracking performance, looking at a metric over time. So whatever that unit of measurement is
hmm.
over time,
Yeah,
and you're steadily going up, and then you hit a few bumps, but then you look at it like looking at the stock market or something. You're not going to react to every little thing because at the end,
that's
you're
true.
still on that trajectory
Yeah,
to hit your goal. Now, if you
right.
start to, when we're looking at true performance improvement, you have 5 points going in the wrong direction. Okay, I need to react at that. But one or two, that's not no need for alarm. Let's see what happens, because we want to see a
Mm,
pattern. We want to see a trend. And if there's no trend, don't react, because what you could do is course correct, but overshoot. And now
yeah,
you could make it worse. And now you got to correct it back down. And now it's like calibrating something. Now it's just doing this. And you're like, I can't even get steady performance because I keep reacting to every little short term thing. Sometimes you just got to let it ride. Let it ride, people. Let it ride.
oh my God. Oh, I remember this one example of so this was in flight school, right? So I was flying. This is LT me. Yeah, you could definitely, you can't spell lost without LT, that's for sure during this time. So I was in flight school and I think it was I was do is I think it was training on instrument flight rules or something like that. I forget. But I hit some like really rough air, right? I heard some turbulent air and like I've noticed that the helicopter was just kind of like rocking, and I'm like, what the fuck, what's going on here? I'm flying, I'm trying to keep this straight, the heading plus or minus 5 degrees, altitude plus or minus whatever 100 feet, and like it kept rocking back and forth, it kept oscillating, it kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I was like freaking out. So the instructor pilot's like, hey, I got controls. Like, okay, you got controls. So I didn't know what was going on, right? I had a death grip on that cyclic and I was rocking. I didn't know what was going on. It was getting worse. I was talking about nervous stress and the
Mm.
pucker factor was crazy. And he goes, you know what happened right there? I was like, I have no clue. I was like, I tried to figure out. I couldn't figure it out. All I know was just kept, going back and forth, rocking. It was pretty aggressive at one point. He goes, you created that. I was like, what do you mean? I was like, so the initial was kind of some turbulent air, right? But
Mhm.
because I was like so stiff and I had death grip on a cyclic, so the actual when it's rocking, I was rocking the cyclic back and forth too.
Oh.
And as it continued to oscillate, it kept bigger and bigger because I kept moving back and forth
Oh.
greater. And so
Mm.
I was creating that.
You
So, oh
created
my
your own
God, I
storm.
created my own storm. Yeah, that's crazy. But yeah, that was one thing as uh, that just reminded me of that where like yeah, I was and that's what happens, Okay, it's not exactly parallel story, but yeah, some people when they try to correct, they end up, making it worse. And
Yeah.
or sometimes you don't think you're corrected and you're making it worse. Like me.
And sometimes you just have to wait and see. You know, you just got to sit there and watch and see what happens.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
sometimes it's tough when you have leaders above you that maybe don't understand that logic.
Yeah.
And so they're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I need something done. Why is that red? Well, we had, maybe a staffing shortage. Someone had quit at that point,
Yeah.
but they're like, no, we can't have, the numbers are low, and then maybe the next month, maybe you got the staff back, but it's training. So it's still low. Hey, don't worry, keep cool. Once they're up to speed, we're going to see this go back up. And it's like giving it time for something to get settled. And then, okay, let's see what happens. And it's just really keeping people calm under pressure and all of those things. And just, let's just see it through.
Yeah. That's hard, when you have, people pressuring you from above. But yeah, I think the moral story here is you got to keep a loose grip on the cyclic, right? So meaning like you see the change, but don't like overreact. You got to have a light touch. Like, all right, I see it. I'm not gonna react to it. Just let it be for a little bit and let it do its thing. I'm not gonna like have a death grip on these results and try to correct every small thing. That's where my story was
All
going.
right. So we left them with a phrase, couple of phrases. What you said, keep a loose grip on the cyclic,
Yeah.
right? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir.
Uh, and what was the other one that you said?
I don't know. I make them up as I go, so I have no idea.
Man, it's freestyling. Just rewind it. He said another good one there. And then I said, let it ride. So keep a loose grip on the cyclic, let it ride,
I let it ride.
let it
Yeah,
ride.
I like it.
So, okay. Well, I think that's it for us today. So, again, we covered our topic, episode 8, resilience and adaptability in uncertain times. So, I really hope that people did get some nuggets out of this one.
Mm.
And as we usually do, we say thanks for tuning in to Command the Corporate. If today's episode gave you value, do us a favor. Share with a colleague or teammate who's ready to step into leadership, or maybe that's already in the leadership and can get some nuggets out of today's episode. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and connect with us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts for more leadership insights and resources. And until next time, lead with clarity, lead with purpose, and always remember mission first, people always. And we'll see you next time.